Hello guys, my name is Ben and I talk about anime. Yes guy, I know, my English is so bad, but I hope you understand me. Well, subscribe to my channel and enjoy watching this video. Let's go. Infinity Dragon in the first full virtual reality video game the world witnessed in 2033. As soon as he gets the change, a college student Ryuji buys it and enters the virtual world. The Ryuji meets the game overseer, a cat named Chesira, who introduces him to the virtual world and tells him that this is a game of infinity possibility, as each decision he makes consequences. After he customized his appearance and with Ray Starling and his username, Reggie enters the kingdom of Altar and decides to find his older brother, Shu, who's been playing this game long before him. While looking for his brother, Ray jumps into Lillian, who's looking for her missing sister, Milia. Before she leaves, Lilia gives Ray a picture of her sister Milia and tells Ray to contact her should he find her or hear anything about her. A quest to find Milia and pops on Ray's board afterwards. A moment later, Ray finally finds his brother, Shu, whom Ray tells about this new quest, which she offers to help. Is in an orchard walking. Into there, Shu hands Ray some healing potions and a life-saving brooch scenes. Ray is totally new to this game. Shu also reveals if Ray meets his demise. In the game he won't be allowed in the game for 24 hours, equal to 72 hours in the game. At the orchard, the brothers find Lilia, who is already there fighting the insects to keep them away from Milia. After Shu assists Lilia in defeating the insects, the mid-dragon worms emerge and attacks them. Shu decides to fight them alone, but the worms attack him. At once and defeat him, Lilia tells Ray to take her sister away, while she holds off the worms while he runs away. Ray hands Million the life-saving brooch, whose brothers give him. Should a worm attack them, that actually happens, as one of the worms attacked them, both almost killing Million, who saved by the brooch. Ray asks the embryo in his hand for help and for all of its endless possibilities. A girl named Nemisa shows up who helps Ray by transforming into a big black sword, which Ray used to defeat the worm in one hit. The quest is well accomplished, as Ray succeeds in hunting Million to save her sister, and intact following the quest. Nemisia, Ray and Shu celebrate their success in the first quest. Shu gives his little brother a history lesson about the war that ensued between the Altar Kingdom and the Drive Kingdom, the land of machines in which the Altar Kingdom lost since many of its players did not participate. Shu also reveals Dry will be attacking soon, which is why Ray needs to be ready. Now Ray has a goal, becoming a paladin, a high-ranking player. The next day, after Rabbi's new clothes, he goes out with Nemesis to kill more monsters. While Ray and Nemesis kill some goblins, they see another player surrounded by zombies. Instead of intervening, Ray remotely heals her with his power, enabling her to fight and defeat the zombies. The girl thanks Ray and introduces herself, Rook, and her embryo Bublin. Later on, Ray continues looking for monsters to kill, but meets his demise in the hands of a player killer after 72 hours have passed in the game. Ray returns to find and set Nemesis, feeling quality for failing to save him. Ray comforts her and tells her what's done is done. The two of them go to Tomb Labyrinth, where they kill more zombies. Suddenly, Ray is attacked by another player. Even though the attacker is powerful for Ray, Ray stands his ground as he sets to fight back no matter what. However, the attacker stops, apologizes for attacking Ray, and introduces himself as Feature, whom Ray knows to be one of the highest ranked players in the game. Before leaving, Feature recommends that Ray visit Gideon, where he can fight him and be able to duel more players without having to wait 24 hours should he die. The next day, Ray talks to Bapion and Rock about player killers and where to find them. A journalist working for the Dendrogram Information Network named Maria approaches them and tells them about the 4 top players who are eliminated all in the 4 corners of Altar, one of who is Figaro in the south and the mysterious god of destruction in the north, waiting to get his revenge on the player killer who killed him. Ray goes to the incinerated forest in the north. While scouting the area, he and Nemesis find a portal. Enter it, they meet up with Cheshire, who reveals to them that this area is is under maintenance, so they won't find any player's killers. Hero insists that Ray go to the Gideon. Chishire wishes him, Luke tells him to be careful, and gives a cryptic message, including that the Org's heart is in his stomach. Later on, Ray plans again with Rook and Barbly to go to Gideon on a quest to transport some gods. Surprisingly enough, Maria will be coming alone on the way. There Ray and his group encounters a group of travelers trapped by a band of goblins. Ray and his friends easily defeat the goblins, but a moment later they are attacked by an ogre named Gradana. Initially, Ray attacks Gradana, but the attack doesn't seem to work, despite Ray and Rose, Ray and Ixel, enabling him to resist the cast. Ray remembers Chishire's cryptic message about the ogre's heart being in its stomach before Ray's attack. Some change occur as Ray's power and speed increases. Gradrenda unleashes its poison gas, but fails to affect Ray, who lunges at the ogre in one last attack and therefore finishes it off. Following the battle, Ray's status improves to MVP as he ranks higher in the game. He also gets some new rewards and 2 weapons. When tested, the weapons backfire, setting Ray on fire. Nemesis put out the fire. A player dressed as a penguin flamingo shows up and gives Ray a potion that helps him heal and grow some animal. Yours much to Ray's frustration. Flamingo starts dancing around now that his elixir is effective. Ray goes mad at Flamingo and threatens to kill him, but Flamingo runs away at a supersonic speed. Later on, Ray and Nemesis encounter some gangsters assaulting a woman. Ray decides to save her, but a fellow player called Hugo beats him to the punch and intervenes. However, Hugo fails to activate his weapons as all the gangsters gang up on him. Ray intervenes and saves him. The gangsters flee the woman, thanks Ray and Hugo for saving her, as she also tells them about her missing little brother, who's been kidnapped by this gang in a fortress. After Ray and Hugo gladly accept her quest, Hugo's embryo shoves off dragging the fleeing gangsters prior to attacking the fortress. Hugo activates his powerful weapon, the Magic Gear Robot, which he uses to take Ray to the fortress. Arriving there, Hugo attacks the gang, while Ray goes inside the fortress to find an army of zombies or the kidnapped kids marching toward him. Ray gives them a merciful death. After Hugo beats all the gangsters, the giant beast shows up and fighting him. Hugo struggles to fight the beast, but after he merges with Psycho, he manages to defeat it. Meanwhile, Ray goes to the basement to find the girl's missing brother. Ray tries to save him, but the kid attacks Ray, knocking him out. The creature behind the kidnappings, Alec, appears from the shadows and reveals his plan of creating the crystal of resentment, the reason he kidnapped and killed all of these kids. Before the leak can kill their conscience, Ray springs back to life. The leak distracts Ray with a zombie and runs out of the forest. However, Hugo stands in the leak, Ray stopping him. Ray chases the leak and kills him. Some bandits who have been watching all alone try stealing the leak stuff. Now that he's dead, including the crystal, however, Crystal reacts to leak death and kill all of the bandits by sucking their blood, forming a giant beast. Ray has Hugo take to the hostage away while he confronts the beast alone. Initially, the beast knocks out Ray. Nemesis attacks the beast, buying enough time for Ray to heal. While he's out, Ray remembers his brother advice back when he was young, that is never lost fight in his decisions, which motivates Ray. When he awakens, Ray then wakes up and attacks the beast with all his might, defeating. In later on, Hugo and Psycho meet up with Flamingo, who reveals that he's been spying on Ray by those animal ears he gave him. Flamingo also discusses his plan of ending the war between Rive and Alter. Next day, Marina invites Ray to the clash of the Superiors, a tournament held in Gideon. Afterward, Ray runs into his brother and tells him about the event, but she reveals that Figaro turns out to be his close friend, will be fighting, receiving the reward for his last quest of saving the kidnapped children. Ray decides to split it and share it with Hugo. Prior to Figaro's match, Ray runs into Zenio, Figaro's opponent. Carrying an unconscious girl, thinking that Zunio is kidnapping her. Ray tries to attack when Zenio attacks Shu, intervenes and blocks Zunio's attack. Zunio commands Shu, swift witness, and walks away. Shu then tells his brother it's too soon for him. At a superior like Zunio, match between Zunio and Figaro begins to start. Trading blows, Zunio gets the upper hand, and she unleashes her flames on Figaro, who blocks them by forming a barrier zone. Zunio casts a spell and rips Figaro lungs out, causing him to drop his sword and coughed blood, much to the horror and exasperation of the audience. Surprisingly enough, Figaro takes off his upper clothing, becomes berserk, and overwhelms Zenio with his attacks as he manages to rip her embryo's arm. Figaro then drops his 2 blades and equips a large sword as Figaro lunges at Sanyo for the kill. Zunio stabs him in the herd thinking that she is win. However, Zinio step failed to pierce Figure's heart since Figure's embryo is his heart. Figure thanks Zinio for being a wonderful opponent and cuts her in a half, and Figure wins. Following the match, Flamingo shows up to the area and takes off his penguin suit and introduces himself as Mr. Franklin, as superior from Drive. The spectators attack Franklin, but their attacks fail since the area is protected by a barrier. A beard fills and lands on Franklin's hands. When Franklin snaps his fingers, the beard transforms into an unconscious Elizabeth, the princess of Altair, who Maria turns out to have saved from a group of folks a while back. Back to the present, Elizabeth wakes up and asks Franklin why he attacked the city, to which Franklin replies that she wants some entertainment before the war between Altair and Dreyfus, and the Altair believes it lost because its masters did not practice in the war. Now he's going to attack the masters themselves to make sure they don't participate in the upcoming war. Meanwhile, Shu notices a group of masters outside the barrier and not there with Franklin. Ray puts his hand through the barrier and it passes through, which who explains that rookie players like Ray are allowed to walk through the barrier. Ray gathers all the Rockies attack Franklin's followers on the other side and defeats them. Franklin is attacked by Maria, who succeeds in snatching Elizabeth, getting her to safety and giving her Franklin's map. After Elizabeth escapes, Franklin tells her he saw her coming, which is why he tasked Dobrel, the king of the orchestras, which getting rid of her Waldorf, introduced his embryo, which is a band of musicians. A battle between the two stars Bell Durbel has the upper hand first, as he overwhelms Elizabeth. With his percussion, Elizabeth recalls her time as a manga written and how she stopped it after suffering from a writer's block. The reason she joins the game after the percussion ends, Walderbell finds no trace of Maria, who should be dead. But now Maria surprises him with a bullet from her revolver, destroying one of Walderbell's defenses. Walderbell activates the final orchestra, while Elizabeth loads a bullet into her revolver to clash until Walderbell is defeated and his embryo is destroyed. Meanwhile, we see Franklin crying, an unconscious Elizabeth alongside Hugo and his Maginger, who managed to freeze all of the Rocky players without killing them outside Gideon's, while Hugo is confronted by the Royal Guard, led by Lillian Rook, confronts Hugo. After the two trade some insults, they start battle interestingly enough. Rook calculates and analyzes Hugo, while Marlin, Rook's Beast, and Balan keep Hugo busy. Suddenly, Hugo lands a hit on Rook, sending him flying towards the outer wall of Gideon. Hugo attacks more, but Rook manages to dodge all of his attacks. Rook activates the Union Jack skill. A Hornetman in silver armor with silver wings and armed with a silver land shows up and attacks Hugo. Hugo has a hard time dealing with the attacks and soon figures that this man is Rook combined with Babylon and Maria. The two clash once more. Rook manages to pierce through Maria, allowing Rook to cast a magic shard on Hugo and control him, ultimately defeating him outside. The Wolf's Ray meets up with Franklin and confronts him. Franklin reveals that the potion he gives Ray Yorley allowed him to steady his skill and moves, which is why he created a monster solely for the purpose of killing Ray. Ray fights the monster as he unleashes his flames on it. By the end of the fight, Ray kills it, but is drained and gravely injured after he finds. Lilia heals him, but she is unable to heal his arm. Franklin reports to Plan B and detonates bomb he planted all over Gideon, but they don't explode thanks to Maria, who managed to disarm them. Al Franklin finds it funny and laughs as he switches to Plan C, activates his embryo Pandemium, and summons an army of kamikaze monsters charging toward Gideon. Ray awakens and decides to attack, but Shu shows up only this time without his bear costume and reveals to his brother that he is a mysterious god of destruction with the highest skill, counting the whole game. Shu tells his brother to rest while he takes it for her. Shu activates his embryo and deadly battle starts. While Shu cleans house and kills Franklin's monsters, Ray catches up to Franklin and confronts him. Franklin sees that his Pendinomium is about to be destroyed, so he accepts defeat and sees no hope for him to survive. This Franklin charges, but Hugo shows up with Maginger at Ray not to attack Franklin, who turns out to be his sister in the real world. Hugo attacks Ray, but Ray easily dodges the attack and pierces through Maginger, killing Hugo. Ray then charges at Franklin and punches catches him with his injured arm, sending him flying and ultimately defeating him. In the aftermatch, everybody continues their life in peace. Lilia tried healing Ray's arm, but he wants to be able to use it in this game. He'll only play with the opposite arm. Finally, Franklin disconnects himself from the game and decides to focus on his college studies in the real world. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel. Well, you have been with you. See you later.